I'm Invictus. This is The One Show.
Hello and welcome to The One Show with Matt Baker.
And Alex Jones. So yes, tonight we are celebrating the Invictus Games in the studio. Have a balloon. Have a balloon.
I would pop those down because the mouth arches over there, Callum.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Cheers, Dave. Thank you. Well, as well as Callum, we're also joined by some more of Team UK. I'm sure you can hear them all cheering in the studio. They're all heading out to Canada for the Invictus Games beginning this Saturday.
Now, the colossal sporting event is the brainchild of Prince Harry and sees military personnel from 70 nations compete across 12 sports.
Following the success of London 2014 and Orlando 2016, this year it is Toronto's turn. And here's what you can all expect.
To be the largest Invictus Games yet, and covering all the action in Toronto are tonight's three guests.
So let's welcome Paralympic medalist Adia Deputan.
2012 Team GB wheelchair rugby captain Steve Brown.
And Invictus Games gold medalist, it's JJ Chalmers. Welcome. So, Adia, I mean, you've been covering the Games since 2014, since it started. So did you envisage that it would become what we're about to see here? I mean, Al was saying the biggest yet.
Yeah, I had a feeling that that it was going to get huge and the excitement that was building up for the Games. But, I mean, for me, it still is a surprise at the size of the Games and the profile, because when you look at the Paralympics, it took the Paralympics 50 years to get to where it's got to.
Yeah, good point.
And in a short space of the time, you know, the profile of the Invictus Games, thanks to people like JJ, you know, and PH, Prince Harry, it's well up there.
Yeah. Well, Prince Harry has said, hasn't he, that the Invictus Games is a way to help wounded armed forces veterans build their confidence and help drive their physical and mental recovery.
And most of us will never know the full horrors of combat, but a few days ago, a World War II Royal Corps hero, 95-year-old John Jeffries, decided to relive his experiences 70 years on.
As I stand here and remember, on the 18th of September, how on that fateful day so many lives were washed away.
On a normal morning, 95-year-old John Jeffries here would have his porridge and honey, and then he'd walk into town and back for a bit of exercise. Today is going to be a little bit different. He's here in the Netherlands, not far from Arnhem, and he's about to go up to 15,000 feet to try something he last did here 73 years ago. Are you feeling okay?
Absolutely.
John is recreating a parachute jump he made as part of Operation Market Garden in September 1944. Back then, he was in the Royal Corps of Signals and was dropped behind enemy lines.
As I came down, I was shot, so I was wounded and I couldn't get up off the ground.
Where were you shot?
I shot, don't ask.
Oh, really?
I was shot coming down, I was shot up the backside. And it went straight through.
That's a very traumatic episode that you suffered here 73 years ago. I mean, being shot, you were eventually taken prisoner, weren't you? I believe.
I was.
Does this jump in any way kind of lay that to rest? Is there something still lingering?
Of course, that's a natural doings for a soldier. In the back of your mind, you feel you want to do something.
It's his way of honouring all the soldiers that lost their lives. Every year we visit the graves of his friends that lost their lives on that day, and he will be there telling them he did it for them.
We're just on the outskirts of Arnhem, and some of the drop zones from Operation Market Garden in 1944 were just over there. The parachutists will be landing right here.
When I was in Stalag, I was a prisoner of war, I used to write a lot of poetry about my activities in the army. It's called Honouring Fallen Comrades. Soldiers all, still, they stand in line and so they will for all time. But now their uniform is white and made of stone, an awesome sight. My heart is heavy as I read their name. And age so young, so who's to blame? There is no answer, except to see that war has no winners. Peace is the key. It was really something to remember, you know, doing it now, to remember all the boys that are still here. I'm very pleased I did it.
Oh, what an inspiration.
Yeah, quite something to experience that film with all these, servicemen and women here. But JJ, talking of that, you were a Royal Marine, and you always wanted to get your wings and jump out of an aeroplane. Never happened for you.
Your uniform's not finished and complete if you don't have a set of wings on it. So yeah, you always try and sort of create your career that you can get an excuse to go on a parachute course, basically. But it just never happened. But you get to do these amazing things. You jump out of helicopters, you do all that kind of malarkey. And the thing about it is that you don't really appreciate how incredible that is because it's your job until it's taken away from you. And that's the great thing about Invictus, is that it gives you that sort of that rush, that experience, that thing which you thought you'd lost. And like I say, it's amazing what you could take for granted until you nearly lost it.
Sure.
And we've been watching you, Steve, on Without Limits on BBC Two. That's quite a rush, isn't it? Well, the cave, I think we've got some footage of you in the cave. That looked really hardcore, that did.
The cave was tricky, getting up and into that. It wasn't down into the cave, it was up halfway up a mountain after crossing rivers and bits and pieces. You're wet through, the sun's out, the temperatures are unreal. Then
well, it was in Vietnam, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was over in Vietnam, where it's all part of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Well, we wasn't doing the touristy bits. You can see here, this is a long way from the tourist trek.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, access wasn't really made all it should have been, but it was hard work.
Does it get easier for you in part 2 that's coming up on Thursday?
No, do you know what? It's funny. Part 2 is much more about the team dynamics and how you spend this time with a group of individuals. We're there for 3 weeks in total.
Yeah.
Over those 3 weeks, the 6 of us bonded, the dynamics changed, and the second half is much more about us experiencing Vietnam than getting to know each other.
OK. Do you see lots of wildlife while we were out there? Because we're rolling into a film that I think you're going to like here, because now for a wild adventure of a different kind, in our third instalment with the Tweedy family. Now, I don't know if you remember this family, but they bought a zoo.
They did. There's been many trials and tribulations along the way, and in this latest chapter, you've got rebrands, renovations and raccoon dogs.
3 are.
It's 3 months since the Tweedy family moved 300 miles from Kent to take over the Borth Animalarium near Aberystwyth in Wales. And in that time, they've had flooding.
The zoo's open, people are walking around, but you're knee-deep in water fixing the pump.
Dodgy DIY.
The best you could say was it was creative.
And financial issues to deal with.
But that makes no sense for us to buy it off of you. We could just buy it ourselves. Yeah, but you can't.
And to top it all, neither Mum nor Dad know the first thing about running a zoo.
I think you have to be a little crazy to do this sort of thing.
So as they approach the end of their first summer in charge, what impact has their life-changing decision had on them and the zoo? A mural artist by trade, Dean has drawn upon all of his talent to design a brand new look.
Changed the name to the Borth Wild Animal Kingdom, just a bit more bright and colourful than what we've got. Redesigned the logo. I've based it around our main attraction, which is Zulu, our male lion.
And in between hand painting the new signs, Dean's also been busy repairing the broken enclosures.
Priorities were fixing safety barriers, perimeter fences, making sure animals were secure. This could be pushed right over to here before, but now it's all nice and sturdy. This is a new double door system that we've put in, so we can gain access from this side of the enclosure. Put up new roofing and stuff as shelter for the goats.
And all of that hard graft hasn't gone unnoticed by the visitors here today.
I think it's really good. I think they've got a great selection of animals. It's great for the kids. Kids love it.
definitely a step in the right direction. A bit more time and a bit more TLC, it'll be amazing.
But how are their children adjusting to all the changes? The youngest Tweedies, 11-year-old Sophie and Paige, who's 9, have left their friends behind, changed schools, and even started learning a new language.
I think this is an amazing place to live. But what do you think?
In Kent, we didn't always used to go to the zoo, but now we get to go to a zoo every day.
How brilliant is that? Which is your favourite animal in the zoo?
Cats, snakes, lemurs and mumsets.
It's priceless. I mean, they get up in the morning, the first thing they do is have their breakfast and then run down to help the keepers. And then of an evening, they're off on their bikes, sort of exploring the countryside or playing in the stream with their friends and things like that. It sounds silly, but it's idyllic.
Well, it sounds like a dream come true.
It is just a completely different way of life.
Tracy and Dean know that in order to survive, they need to grow the business. And for them, that means introducing new animals. 2 months ago, this hillside lay empty, but today it's been transformed into a brand new home for some very special arrivals.
Today we've got 2 raccoon dogs coming. It's quite exciting, but at the same time, it's also really stressful because we're not quite ready.
The animals are due here in the next 2 hours.
This is their house. This is their sleeping area. This will be their outdoor area, which obviously is still in the process of being finished.
For Tracy, the builders and the zookeepers, it's now a race against the clock to finish the enclosure.
It's incredibly stressful right now because we're really running out of time. And then another one the same width.
But finally, their hard work pays off, and the Raccoon Dog Refuge is ready. This is an important moment for the Tweedies, as these are the first animals the family have welcomed to the zoo.
I think it's lovely to see them having so much space and they just look happy, so it's good.
It's a big change for Bandit and Rocket, who are being rehomed from a domestic setting. Raccoon dogs are wild animals native to East Asia and should not be kept as pets.
It's a sanctuary, and if I can help an animal by giving it a good life for the rest of its life, then that's what we'll do.
So as the new arrivals settle in for their first night, the next challenge for the Tweedies is to pass their first zoo inspection later this year.
It's not just a job now, Dean, is it? This is your life.
This is our life, it's our home, it's our future. This is it for us, yeah.
Well, I think we should go there the next time we go and visit your mum and dad.
We will go. We will go. It's really not. It's not very far. Yeah. And we've got a gift for you, Addy, from the Tweedies.
I'm worried. I'm really...
Don't be. Now, we heard that you've got a problem with foxes in your garden.
I do. I have a problem with foxes, and they don't half make a racket at night. I mean, what's going on now, all that screaming?
We're going to sort that out
Trust
for you.
me, this will seriously sort them out.
Am I supposed to open it?
Taking the lid off is optional. It stinks because...
Have a quick look.
What do you mean it stinks?
Well, go on, Al, you tell them what it is.
It's lion poo.
Why are you giving me lion poo? What's that all about?
Well, if you put it in your garden, then it will stop any other cats coming in and also foxes.
I thought you was going to say it matches the colour of my eyes.
See, honestly, trust me, it's in there, and it absolutely reeks.
I just got.
That's going to stop anything going in your garden.
Yeah, I'll put it back in. Where's Dave again? Dave, here, put them with the balloons. There you go.
Nasty.
And it weighed a ton as well.
Let's get back to business and talk about Invictus Games, because Ade and also JJ, we know you've been presenting the Paralympic Games as well. So, in your eyes, how do you sum up the differences between Invictus and Paralympics?
Yeah, I think the Invictus, I see it as kind of a throwback to what the Paralympics were about. You know, when Dr. Ludwig Guttmann began the Paralympics back in 1948, it was about the rehabilitation of athletes. It was about using sport to rehabilitate injured war veterans. And yeah, I think that's what the Invictus is about now. It's about giving people a chance to rebuild their lives after being injured and after going through so many traumatic things. And yeah, I think it's just a fantastic ethos to have. Whereas the Paralympics has probably moved more towards closer to the Olympics, and it's become slightly more professional, slightly more cutthroat.
Right.
Not saying that these guys aren't cutthroat, because they're incredible athletes,
we know.
and I won't be messing about with them.
Yeah. But that's interesting in itself, isn't it? Because medals and medals tables really aren't the thing here.
Yeah, we won't have an official medals table at any point
official
during the
medals
coverage,
table,
but.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, we want to go over there and scalp the other, the other nations and come away with a whole haul of medals. But actually, a medal doesn't need to be the end result of a competitor's journey. I was really lucky to win some, but it wasn't what I was there for. I was there to experience everything that went around it. And as long as you come into the games and you have improved within yourself at the end of it, medal or not, then that's really all that counts.
Yeah, and you really think that it helps people to understand the military a bit better, don't you, the Invictus Games?
It gives people an opportunity to see a different side of the military. On the TV, you see the military. They're either on parade, November ceremonies, remembrance, or it's on the news and they're in combat. And so to be able to see a different element of it, and particularly this year, we're going to be showing the sort of the family side of it as well. And to really give people an idea of actually, these are ordinary human beings who've been asked to do an extraordinary thing. But strip all that away, and you just have men and women.
And we've got quite a large chunk of the team
They're very
in the one
rowdy.
show tonight, which is wonderful, even though you obviously should be away preparing and doing all that kind of stuff. But thank you so much. We've got Stuart Robinson here as well, who's competed in 2 of the Invictus Games and won a gold and a bronze medal as well. So, Stuart, how has kind of competing in the Invictus Games helped you to come to terms with your injuries that you acquired in Afghanistan?
I think I was pretty lucky that I was injured quite close to the start of the 2014 game, so for me personally, it gave me a great catalyst to get out and kickstart my own recovery. Instead of sitting in the hospital bed and not really wanting to move and get out and about, it gave me that purpose and that sense of drive to get out and get in a rugby chair and start playing sport again. And obviously, that has a knock-on effect to playing sport and all the health style that brings with it. So.
And how are you feeling third time then?
I'm lucky that I've got the experience, but I'm still quite nervous on the inside. But we'll try and hide that away when we get out there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They don't mess about though, do they, with this rugby, Steve? I mean, it's pretty full on. Explain then how people get chosen to compete in the Invictus Games, because it's not necessarily that you have to be fantastic or outstanding, is it?
No, absolutely not. And the thing is, as it's grown year on year, more servicemen and women want to be involved in it. It's become hard to get into that squad, into that team. It all starts with sending off an expression of interest. I would like to be part of the Invictus Games. And then from there you start looking at what sports maybe you could be part of. Then from there you go to trials. But the most important thing when they're selecting that team isn't, are you going to come back with a medal? It's all about, is the Invictus Games going to be right for you at the moment in terms of your recovery and rehabilitation?
Right.
It's all about using it as a tool, as a stepping stone, as a springboard even to your future. And if there's a lot of people that maybe want to be part of it and they're just not at that stage yet, mentally or physically, to be in that environment. And the selection process is very, very, very built around that. Not, are you going to get a medal, but is the Games what you need at the moment?
Yeah.
And it's not only open to those who are injured on the front line, but also for those off duty as well, JJ.
Well, it's wounded, injured and sick. And so, that can be anything like recovering from cancer, or it could be a car accident. And the military has a duty of care to its people, and then therefore it gives this opportunity to sort of make, to give you a recovery tool. But yeah, let's say I was wounded, but a lot of our athletes nowadays, for example, are coming through because they've got mental health issues, perhaps. And one of the wonderful things is that this has become a real beacon, and so the people that slipped through the net the first time, they're really coming to the forefront now.
I mean, the great thing about sport is, as a tool, is it gives you an opportunity to be a better person every day. And when you have that to look forward to, that will definitely aid your recovery. To know that each day I can improve. It doesn't matter about the medals, but individually as a person, I can be better.
Yeah.
It's measurable. Becoming better as an athlete, you can see yourself getting faster, you can see
progress.
yourself getting stronger. It's measurable progress, and for a lot of people, it's almost that carrot that you need. And once you start seeing improvement in sport, it gives you the confidence to know you're improving in other areas of life as well.
The only carrot I need is that lion poo. Bring it back.
Well, we've got Joe and Faye as well over there. Now, between you, you are going big in the Invictus Games, aren't you? So you've got the list there. Now, you did bronze
there's 12 between them, basically. So, Joe, to start with, I mean, you've already got bronze in the cycling, but that's not enough for you. You're doing golf, shot put, discus, swimming, sitting, volleyball. How on earth are you preparing for all of that?
I'm not sure. Yeah, not too bad, actually. It's been all right. With the girls behind me and obviously the rest of the team, we've managed to get a fair bit of training in.
Yes.
And with work as well. It's been tough, but ask me after the games and we'll see.
Yeah. And what about you, Faye? How's your training going?
It's really good, yeah. It's really hard, train every day, and all the training camps, almost every weekend is taken up by training camps, so it's quite challenging.
Well, it's such a variety, isn't it, of sports?
We have good coaches, though. We've got GB coaches behind us, and they're really helpful.
Good.
Well, Adi, obviously Prince Harry did this, and he was saying earlier on that, you know, it was all about building confidence and helping with recovery and this, that and the other. But for those that are sitting watching at home that maybe don't have a support network of something like the military around them, how realistic is that notion of, you know, anything is possible?
Well, I think today it's far easier than it was when I was growing up. And I was chatting with JJ and Steve about this, and I mean, it sounds a little bit macabre, but this is probably the best time to have a disability, if ever there was a time in British history, because there are so many things set up for you. You know, there are clubs out there that you can access. The BPA, British Paralympic Association, is out there, but I still say that we can improve. We can get it. We can increase the knowledge and the profile of the sport and make access. Especially, I mean, I get all the time young parents coming up to me and saying, you know, how do I get my young child to a sports club? You know, and where are they? And I think we can't rest on our laurels and keep working. Things like the Invictus Games and things like the Paralympics do that as well.
Yeah. OK. Well, thank you. And of course, we wish you all the very best out there. We really do. Super to see you all. Good luck with it all. We'll be watching. Don't go anywhere just yet, because we're not quite finished the programme. No. But we are moving on slightly, because lots of you will be wanting to turn back the clocks as it gets a little bit nippier, back to your summer holidays. But out of all those places that you've been to, where would you choose to go again? That's the question we're asking now.
Well, for Nicholas Parsons, he opted for a trip down memory lane, also known as the A64 to Scarborough.
Scarborough Prom. I've borrowed a 1960s Elvis, a classic British car, similar to one a vintage British performer used to drive along here.
Way back in 1964, this is where my holiday guests spent a family break, hard at work.
Today, Nicholas Parsons and his daughter Susie are reliving a memorable holiday.
And I came up here to work to do a summer season, and I thought it was a lovely place to get my family and my young family a holiday.
So Nicholas rented a farmhouse 5 miles away on the Yorkshire moors.
And they say they had one of the loveliest holidays they've ever had.
Over that summer, Susie, aged 6, her 4-year-old brother Justin and their mother, the actress Denise Breyer, combined life on the farm with seaside excursions, all caught on semi-camera by Nicholas.
I do remember the seafront really well, and I've got very overexcited seeing the donkeys and the ice creams and the fun fair.
We've parked up outside the Futurist Theatre. Difficult to believe now that when Manfred Mann was topping the charts, Nicholas was playing here to audiences of 2,000 twice nightly.
It's a long time since I saw you here. 1960, I think it would be 3, would it? Then 64. 1964. I remember you riding along the front here in a sports car.
Alongside his stage career, Nicholas has been described as the ultimate quiz show host, fronting ITV's Sale of the Century and never missing a single episode of Radio 4's Just a Minute in 50 years.
39 seconds starting now. Ifs. Poor challenge.
Well, that was hesitation.
No, it wasn't.
It's not long before we're off on another sentimental journey along the beach.
I have always loved animals. In fact, my best animal story was on the farm in Scarborough.
Oh!
My boy Lollipop. There was this beautiful horse at the farm, and I used to beg Daddy to let me ride it, and eventually he relented because it was a big old horse.
And I got my little cine camera to film it all, and I could see that she was encouraging the horse to go faster.
kicked it into what I hoped was going to be a trot.
And then it suddenly reared down the end of the little paddock and over a 5-bar gate like that. Dropped the camera, ran forward, and didn't know, God, was she dead or alive? And said, I'm sorry, Daddy, I didn't do the right thing then, did I?
Back on the beach, the weather's taken a turn for the worse.
Oh, real British summer.
So, I must say, when we were up here in 1964, we didn't have any rain.
At all?
No.
No.
Well, they've laid it on specially for you today.
Yes. Oh, you think it's funny?
Woke up this morning. We've retreated just up the coast to one of the family's favourite holiday haunts.
We used to come here to Ravenscar on a Sunday and I'd bring the family up and we'd play games out there and we'd come in and we'd have lunch and maybe tea.
Did you find it difficult fitting it all in?
Yes, of course. You work hard, but you find time to have very important, precious time with your children as they're growing up. To me, that was the most precious time of my life and great memories.
You always felt prioritised. So even though he was working, he was around a lot during the day.
Do you mind being described as a national treasure?
I don't fully know what it means. You explain that to me. I'm flattered by it. Thank you.
Somebody that's warm, well-received, dedicated, charming, professional.
Christine, you're so lovely. It's quite sentimental coming back here. It brings it all back to me.
Oh.
Sundays were very special on those occasions because I'd been working all through the week, and then Sunday it was pure family all day.
Sentimental, old bugger.
Oh, darling, you are sweet. What a joy to bring you back here.
Well, with Nicholas's entertainment past, he's going to love this next little section now.
Indeed. Now, we are outside because the health and safety officers here at the BBC say that we are not allowed to fire arrows inside.
We would like to welcome Team UK's only mouth archer, Callum Nugent, everybody.
This is the thing, Callum. Now, we have 3 presenters here who are flying economy to Toronto.
BBC.
And we thought we'd give them the opportunity to win things to make the trip a little bit more comfortable. Do you see?
As well as you here and your arrows, we also have a target down the bottom on which you can see lots of things that hopefully will make the journey, as Al says, more comfortable. We've got headphones, baby toys, we've got eye masks, we've got earplugs, a neck pillow and a good book.
Yeah. So you've got 1 arrow per shot, right? So 1 chance to win each prize. Now, I've seen Ade, when he doesn't get his extra hot skinny latte, he freaks out, so, you know, just saying.
Don't want to see me mad.
Callum, you get into position, my friend.
Yeah,
as
what
we
would you like, Ade?
Headphones, Callum, come on.
Headphones.
OK, we're going for headphones first. So this is at the 8 o'clock position. We're going for headphones for Ade.
Yeah,
it's going to be a very quiet journey.
It's the perfect build-up for the games.
Isn't it?
If you don't get it, we'll find that line that did the poo.
Mouth guard
Yeah,
in.
mouth guard's going in. Here we are.
Everything absolutely right first. Okay,
Oh.
there. What's this holding the tag?
Headphones.
Hold that.
Come on, Sam. Come on.
It's headphones! It's headphones! Right, Steve, what do you want?
Pillow, let's have a pillow.
The neck pillow,
Okay.
12 o'clock position, the neck pillow.
See what we've got here. That is unreal, eh?
No, it's a great shot. Great shot. I should have asked for something better.
So, here we go in there. This, 12 o'clock for the neck pillow.
Come on, let's see what we've got.
Come on, Callum.
Top of the board.
Is it top?
Top of the board.
Go.
Oh! Just off. It's the studio. It's the lights outside. Don't worry.
I'm nervous.
Do you know what? We've only got 20 seconds before the end of the programme.
Yeah.
So, Jade, you'll have to log on online and see if you can get it. Who knows? Callum's going to carry on. It might happen while we're still here. But
Exactly.
anyway, we
Who
wish
knows?
everybody all the very best of luck at the Invictus Games 2017. You can see all the action on BBC next week with coverage starting at 5:35 on Sunday.
And tomorrow we have Jules Holland and Gregory Porter. See you then.
Good night.
Go on, try one more then.
Coming up, Inside Out in